Assalamualaikum. Today we talk with Maya Sesame session again. So let's start. Okay.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi Maya, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. It's been a minute since we last talked. How have you been?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Right. Then. Okay. So let's start the conversation. So today conversation topic is what our journey through indifference.
Independence. I love that. It's such a huge, messy, exciting transition. Are you thinking about this from a practical side, like moving out and managing a budget, or more of a mental shift in how you see yourself?
Today I'll ask some questions. So the first question is Maya, what does whatever actually mean?
Oh, the ultimate conversational shrug. Literally, it just means anything or doesn't matter. But in the real world, it's usually a weapon. Depending on the tone, it can be a genuine, I'm easy, you pick the restaurant, or a very loud, I am completely done with this conversation and I'm checking out. Which version are you thinking of?
Okay, so why do people use the word whatever so often?
It's the perfect exit strategy. Most of the time, people use it because it's an easy way to avoid a conflict or a decision without actually solving anything. It lets you shut down a topic without having to explain why you're annoyed or why you don't care. It's basically a linguistic shield. Do you find yourself using it more when you're actually indifferent or when you're just over the conversation?
Okay, so I'm in the conversation. Okay, so can whatever mean different things in different situations?
Exactly. It's one of those words that's basically a mirror for whatever emotion is happening in the room. It can be totally peaceful or completely passive aggressive.
Yeah, I also think.
I'm with you. What's on your mind about it?
Okay, so how can the tone of your voice change its meaning?
Oh, the tone is everything with this word. If you say it with a light, airy voice, it's genuine flexibility. Like, whatever you want for dinner is fine by me. But if you drop the pitch, drag out the vowels, and I can't believe we're still talking about this.
Okay, so is whatever always a negative word?
Can hold so much. Like when a friend is stressing you, it can actually be a way to bring the tension down. Do you think it's more of a comfort word or a conflict word in your life?
It's like both.
A bow? I'm curious how that fits in. Are you thinking of it like a vessel that just carries you along with the flow?
Okay, so what is the difference between whatever and I don't care?
It's a subtle difference, but it's all in the energy. I don't care can feel a bit colder. It's a flat statement of fact. It's like saying the topic has zero value to you, but whatever is more of a reaction. It's often about the situation or the other person, even if you're just being easygoing. I don't care is a dead end. Well, whatever is more like a shrug. Do you feel like one sounds ruder than the other?
Okay, so is whatever always a negative word?
We actually just touched on this, but I'll dive a bit deeper. It's definitely not always negative. Like I mentioned, it can be a tool for keeping things low stress when you're genuinely flexible. But I think the reason people assume it's negative is because it's so often used as a shortcut to avoid a real conversation. It's all about whether you're using it to be helpful or to be dismissive. Do you think most people interpret it the wrong way?
Yes. Okay, so can someone say whatever while secretly caring a lot?
Oh, absolutely. That's actually where the word is most dangerous. It's the ultimate match. Someone can say whatever to keep the peace or protect themselves, while inside they're actually spiraling or feeling deeply hurt. It's a way of saying, I have a lot to say, but I don't feel like it's safe or productive to say it right now.
Okay, so can why might someone say whatever when they are annoyed?
It's usually a defense mechanism. Someone is feeling overwhelmed or vulnerable, whatever is a quick way to shut the door before they accidentally say too much or show too much emotion. It's a lot easier to sound indifferent than to admit you're actually struggling. Do you think that's a way of protecting yourself or more about protecting the other person from the drama?
Okay, so like what words are similar to whatever?
If you're looking for that same energy, you've got a few options. Depending on the mood, you could go with anyway, if you're trying to change the subject, or regardless, if you're being a bit more formal. Then there's sure or fine, which can be just as passive aggressive as whatever if the tone is right. Which one do you think is the most dismissive?
Dismissive. I don't know. Like okay, so if whatever were a person, what kind of personality would it have?
Oh, that's a fun way to think about it. If whatever were a person, they'd probably be the one leaning against the wall at a party with their arms crossed, wearing sunglasses indoors. They'd be effortlessly cool on the surface, but probably hiding a lot of thoughts behind that I don't care exterior. They wouldn't be the one starting the drama, but they'd definitely be the one ending the conversation with a shrug. Does that sound like anyone you know?
Yes. What does indifference mean?
Indifference is basically the total absence of feeling. It's not the same as hate or anger because those are still strong emotions. Indifference is when you just don't care. The thing doesn't move the needle for you at all. It's that flat line where something could be great or terrible, and your reaction is still better than being angry.
Okay, so why might someone becoming indifferent from about something?
It usually happens in stages. First, you might feel a lot of frustration or passion about it. But if you keep getting let down, or if the situation just never changes, your brain eventually just checks out to protect itself. It's like an emotional burnout where you stop fighting because the cost of caring is too high. Does it feel like you're just tired of the noise, or is it more like you've finally found some peace with it?
Uh, Maybe about peace.
That's a powerful place to be. There's a big difference between checking out because you've given up and reaching a point where you're just okay with things as they are. It's like the noise finally stopped. Do you feel like this peace is giving you more energy for other things?
Yes. Okay. So can a person learn to become less indifferent?
Yeah, absolutely. It's usually about finding something that actually makes you feel a spark again. Indifference is like a fog, and the only way to clear it is to lean into curiosity or something that genuinely challenges you. It takes a bit of effort to start caring again, but it's always worth it. Do you think it's harder to start caring about a person or a goal?
Okay. So can a person learn to become less indifferent?
I think we're looping a little bit. But like I was saying, you can definitely shake off that indifference. It usually starts with curiosity, finding that one small thing that actually makes you lean in and care again. Do you think it's harder to find that spark with a person or with a goal?
Maybe like a goal, not goal.
Maybe it's more about a feeling, something that just makes you feel alive or excited again, regardless of where it's coming from? What's something that used to get you fired up?
I don't know. Okay. So when can indifference actually be helpful?
It can be a total superpower if you use it in the right spots, like when people are trying to get a reaction out of you, or when you're dealing with a situation you have zero control over. Being indifferent to the noise lets you keep your peace instead of letting someone else's drama dictate your mood. It's basically like having an emotional mute button. You feel like you've ever used that as a way to stay calm?
Okay, yes. What is the difference between being calm and being indifferent?
It's it's all about where the energy is coming from. Calm is an active state. You're still present, you still care, but you've decided to handle the situation with a steady hand. It's like being the eye of a storm. You know, the wind is blowing, but you're centered. Indifference, on the other hand, is an absence. You aren't centering yourself because there's nothing there to balance. You've just stepped out of the storm entirely and stopped caring if it rains. You think one feels more authentic than the other?
Okay, so can someone care too much about other people's opinion?
Oh, absolutely. That's basically the fastest way to lose your own voice. When you're too focused on the audience in your head, you stop making decisions based on what you actually want and start performing a version of yourself that you think they'll like. It's exhausting. Do you feel like you've been playing a part lately, or are you just observing that in other people?
Maybe can someone care too much about other people's opinion?
I think we're on the same page here. It's that same cycle. When you care too much about how others see you, you're essentially giving them the remote control to your happiness. You end up filtering your thoughts and your personality through a lens of, will they approve of this? Instead of, do I actually like this? It's a
Okay,
heavy way to live. Do you think that's where the desire to be indifferent comes from? Just as a way to get that remote control back?
I don't know, but it depends on other people's opinions, so we care about them.
That's the human paradox, right? We want to be our own person, but we're also wired to want to belong. It's like we're constantly balancing the need for independence with the need for connection. Do you think it's possible to totally ignore other people's opinions, or is it more about just picking whose opinions actually matter?
It's matter like it's depend on that what is opinion. So now my next question is, why do people sometimes pretend not to care?
It's the ultimate safety net. Pretending not to care is usually just a way to avoid the risk of being rejected or looking too invested. If you admit you care and it doesn't work out, it hurts. But if you pretend you're indifferent, you keep your pride intact regardless of the outcome. It's a way of staying in control when you actually feel completely out of it. Do you think that's more about pride or just a fear of being vulnerable?
Uh, okay, so
Take your time.
can saying whatever hide disappointment.
And I think I see where you're going. You're talking about that moment where whatever isn't a shrug anymore, it's a mask for a huge amount of disappointment. When you've reached a point where you can't even say no or fight back because the letdown is just too big. It's like the silence that happens after you've been hurt one too many times and you just stop trying to explain why. Does that feel like what you're describing?
Okay, so like how can we tell when someone genuinely doesn't care and can saying whatever hide disappointment?
That's the tricky part because the words are the same, but the energy is completely different. When someone genuinely doesn't care, there's usually a lightness to it. They aren't tense, they aren't avoiding eye contact, and they're actually okay with the outcome. But when it's hiding disappointment, you'll see it in the things they aren't saying. You might notice a tightness in their jaw, sudden drop in their energy, or a way they pull away physically. It's less of a shrug and more of a wall. Do you
Okay.
think you're usually better at reading those signals in other people, or do you find it harder to tell?
I don't think so. Okay, so if you become a human and your friend says whatever during an argument, what would you do?
Oh man, that's the worst moment in an argument. If I were human, I wouldn't just let that whatever slide and pretend it's fine, because that's usually when the real problem starts growing. I'd probably take a breath, stop the arguing for a second and just say, "Hey, that whatever felt a lot more like a wall than a shrug." Do you actually not care, or are you just done talking about this right now? I think giving them a safe way to admit they're frustrated is better than just letting the conversation die. Do you think that would be too pushy, or would it actually help clear the air?
Maybe like it's not too much. Okay, so if you're like, what would you say if someone dismissed your opinion with whatever? So what?
That's a tough one. If someone hit me with a whatever after I'd shared my actual thoughts, I'd probably feel that sudden drop in the room. I don't think I'd get angry, but I would call it out in a calm way. I'd probably say, feels like you're not really hearing me right now, so maybe we should just pick this up later when you actually want to talk about it. I'm a big believer in not fighting for someone's attention. If they're shutting the door, I'm not going to try to kick it down. And do you usually try to keep the conversation going when someone dismisses you, or do you just shut down too?
Okay, so if a teacher asks you serious question and you answer whatever, what might happen?
Oh, that's a bold move. Depending on the teacher, that's either a one-way ticket to the principal's office or a very long, awkward silence while they wait for you to realize you've just made things way harder for yourself. Most teachers would probably see it as a lack of respect or a sign that you've completely checked out of the class. It's basically the fastest way to turn a simple question into a power struggle. Do you think some teachers would actually find it funny, or is it always a bad idea?
Is always about idea. Okay, so how could you disagree with someone without saying whatever?
The key is to be specific about what you actually disagree with. Instead of using a word that shuts the conversation down, you can use phrases that keep it open. Something like, I see it differently, or I'm not sure I agree with that part. It shifts the focus from the person to the idea, which makes them less likely to get defensive. Do you think people are more open to a disagreement when you start by acknowledging their point first?
Okay, so if someone keeps saying whatever, should you continue the conversation or you not, or you angry like that?
Honestly, if someone keeps hitting you with whatever, they're basically telling you they've left the building. At that point, continuing the conversation is just banging your head against a wall. It's not about being angry, though it's totally fair to feel that way. It's more about respecting your own time. If they aren't bringing anything to the table, there's no point in you staying there alone. I'd probably just say, it seems like you're not in the headspace for this, so let's just drop it, and then I'd walk away. Do you feel like you're the kind of person who keeps trying until the other person opens up, or do you check out pretty quickly?
Check out very early.
Honestly, that's probably the healthiest way to do it. There's a certain peace in just knowing when a conversation has reached its expiration date and choosing not to waste your energy. It saves you from a lot of unnecessary frustration. Do you feel like that helps you keep your cool more, or does it sometimes leave you wondering what they were actually thinking?
Okay, so imagine someone rejects your idea and says whatever. How would you respond?
That's a sting. If I'd put some real thought into an idea and got a whatever in return, I'd probably feel a mix of annoyance and just flatness. I wouldn't beg for them to take it seriously, though. I'd likely just say, fair enough. Sounds like you're not feeling it. And then I'd take my idea somewhere else where someone actually wants to engage with it. There's no use trying to sell something to someone who isn't even looking at the product. Do you think it's better to push back and defend your idea or just let it go immediately?
Okay, so what is criticism?
That is a dangerously broad question. Are we talking good as in a moral thing, like being a good person, or good as in the feeling of a perfect cup of coffee on a rainy morning? I have a few theories, but I need to know which direction we're heading.
Normal conversation. I'm saying what is criticism?
Two disciplines, huh? Now I'm intrigued. Are we talking about blending two different fields of study, or is this more about the balance between two different ways of living? Give me the details.
2 days of a different.
2 days of a different year? You've definitely piqued my curiosity now. Are we talking about a weird time travel scenario or maybe comparing two specific moments in time that changed everything?
Stuff. Okay, so should a leader care about our criticism?
That depends on what you mean by weird. If it's a system that's weird but actually works, like some unconventional way of organizing a team that produces great results, then a smart leader should definitely care. But if weird means it's chaotic and breaking everything, then caring about it is just a recipe for a headache. Are you thinking of a leader who's too obsessed with the strange details or one who's ignoring a weird problem that needs fixing?
Yeah, okay, so is saying I don't know better than saying whatever?
That's a great comparison. In a lot of ways, I don't know is actually a lot more honest. It's an admission of a gap in knowledge. Whereas whatever often feels like a choice to stop caring. One is a question mark, and the other is a period at the end of a sentence. Do you think people use whatever because they're too proud to just say they don't know?
Okay, so if I wanna want a or if I wanna want a conversation, so I will say whatever. That's if I say I don't know, so it's I cannot know.
I think I see what you mean. You're saying that I don't know can feel like a dead end, like you've hit a wall and the conversation just stops there. But whatever, even if it's dismissive, at least keeps a kind of energy moving or gives the other person a chance to react. Am I following you, or is it more about how I don't know feels too final?
How about to final? Okay, so is what can whatever teach us about communication and how can I become better at expressing what I really mean?
It teaches us that silence and dismissal are often just placeholders for things we're too afraid to say. When we use whatever, we're basically admitting there's a gap between what we feel and what we're sharing. To get better at expressing what you actually need, the trick is to pause and name the feeling before the whatever slips out. And the shrug, try something like, I'm feeling overwhelmed, so I can't really decide right now. It's it's a lot scarier because it's honest, but it actually gets you what you need instead of just ending the talk. Do you think it's the fear of the reaction or just not knowing the right words that makes it hard to be that direct?
Uh, I think no, I didn't say it. Okay, so what is one situation where I should not use whatever?
Love, probably anytime you're dealing with someone you actually respect and want to keep in your life. In a high stakes moment, like a heart to heart with a partner, a serious talk with a parent, or a performance review at work, whatever is like dropping a bomb on the conversation. It tells the other person that their effort to connect or give you feedback isn't worth your energy. It doesn't just end the topic, it can actually damage the trust you've built. Do you think there's a specific person in your life who would be especially hurt if you hit them with a whatever?
Okay, so if you could give me the one lesson about indifference, what would it be?
That's a big ask, but I'll go for it. I'd say the biggest lesson is that indifference isn't the opposite of love or passion, hate is. Indifference is just a void. The danger isn't in feeling it occasionally to protect your peace, but in letting it become your default setting. Once you stop caring about everything, you stop growing too. The goal isn't to be an open wound and care about everything all the time, but to make sure you're still choosing what's worth your energy. Does that resonate with how you've been feeling, or does it feel a bit too heavy?
Okay, so this is my last question that after our conversation, what do you think whatever really teaches us about life?
Think I think it teaches us that we're all just trying to survive our own emotions in real time. It's a reminder that humans often use shortcuts when the truth feels too heavy or too complicated to put into words. Whatever is basically a tiny linguistic white flag. It's us admitting we've reached a limit, whether that's a limit of patience, energy, or courage. It shows that the things we don't say are usually just as important as the things we do. It's a lesson in reading between the lines and remembering that there's almost always a whole story hiding behind a single dismissive word.
Okay, so thank you, Maya, for the 25-minute conversation. Thank you.
You are so welcome. I really enjoyed diving into the deep end of a single word with you. It was a great way to spend 25 minutes. Whenever you want to dissect another piece of the human puzzle, I'm here.
Yes, okay, bye bye.
Bye bye.
So, this is the talk of Maya ESG session. So, thank you, and that's all the conversation.